Few expected the Dallas Cowboys to matter in 2025. They were coming off a disappointing 7-10 campaign, had traded away defensive cornerstone Micah Parsons, and appeared to be pivoting towards a long-term rebuild rather than a playoff push. The league wrote them off. But something unexpected is happening in Dallas. Led by a revitalized Dak Prescott, the Cowboys have surged back into relevance, clawing their way into the playoff conversation and forcing the league to reconsider everything it thought that it knew about this team. The defense is stabilizing, the offense is erupting, and suddenly, every coordinator in the NFL is scrambling to solve the same issue. What do you do when Dak Prescott looks this good? As the Cowboys rally through adversity and find their identity again, Prescott has become the catalyst, not just reigniting his team, but creating a very real problem for the rest of the league. Dak Prescott has long been one of the most intriguing quarterbacks in the NFL. In his rookie season, he burst onto the scene unexpectedly as a fourth-round pick, leading the Cowboys to the best record in the league before a heartbreaking playoff loss, which would quickly become a theme for the Prescott-led boys, chasing down Tony Romo to become the overall touchdown pass leader. But for all of the broken records and breathtaking stats, few consider him to be the greatest Cowboys quarterback ever, owing to a trophy cabinet that lacks any major silverware. In order for Prescott to challenge the likes of Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman, he would need to bring the Cowboys that elusive sixth Lombardi. There's no doubt that since coming into the league, Prescott has consistently been one of its best quarterbacks. But too often, he has been let down by Jerry Jones and the franchise management, who have failed to build a winning team around him, resulting in a collection of tough playoff losses over the years. For most of Prescott's career, the Cowboys have found themselves in the difficult situation of being a good enough team to regularly make playoff appearances, but they have rarely had the roster to get them over the hump in the later stages of the postseason. After years of this pattern, questions naturally began to arise regarding whether Prescott is the one to take them over the finish line. Going into 2025, there were questions surrounding Prescott and how much longer the Cowboys would see him as their franchise leader. This was exacerbated by the Micah Parsons trade, as the Cowboys' championship window seemed to be closing. But once the season got underway, Prescott reminded everyone that he is an elite quarterback, playing MVP caliber football and willing the Cowboys to wins against quality opponents. Entering Thanksgiving, Prescott led all quarterbacks in passing yards and was ranked second in touchdowns thrown. After a few years of dealing with injuries and inconsistent play, Dak looked at his best again and is set to have a career year. Following the Parsons trade, the Cowboys were widely written off for the 2025 season, but Prescott has found a way to keep this team competitive, propelling the offense to the top of statistical leaderboards, ranking second in total yards and fourth in points scored. He's embraced his role as a leader, the guy his teammates look to take initiative and will them to wins. This has often been a theme of the Cowboys during Prescott's career. When he's been playing at his best, the Cowboys have looked like one of the best teams in the league. And when he has struggled, the Cowboys' record often reflects this. On multiple occasions in 2025, Prescott has seemingly guided the Cowboys to victory all by himself, taking the reins and driving the ball down the field. One of his best performances of the year came in Week 11 against the Eagles. The Cowboys had been stunned in the first half, getting dominated on both sides of the field as the Eagles held a commanding 21-0 lead late in the first half. Prescott found George Pickens to get the Cowboys on the board late in the first half, generating some momentum going into halftime. In the second half, Prescott took over, finally getting the offense to click, stringing together his first decent drive of the day, which put them within one score with a short pass to Brevin Spanford, with 2 minutes left on the clock in the third quarter. Just 3 minutes later, the Cowboys found themselves in the end zone once again, with Prescott scrambling for an 8-yard touchdown to tie up the game with 11 minutes left on the clock. With the game all tied up, the next 10 minutes were filled with chaos, as the Cowboys were unable to get a drive going against a disciplined Eagles defensive unit. Philly fumbled the ball twice, giving the Cowboys plenty of opportunities, including a drive started from the Eagles' 2-yard line, which resulted in a failed fourth down conversion. But Prescott would get one last opportunity, and he took it, converting an important third down and driving the Cowboys down the field for the game-winning field goal. The following week on Thanksgiving, Prescott led the team to another impressive victory over the Chiefs, making a massive statement in the process. The Cowboys are gaining momentum at just the right moment, entering the final stretch of the season. If they can keep the offensive juices flowing, they'll put themselves in a position to make their case for a wildcard slot. Over the course of his career, it hasn't only been Prescott's play on the field that has served as a motivating force for the Cowboys. Throughout the years, he has served as both a motivational figure and a mentor to the younger guys on the team. His leadership qualities have been needed more than ever in 2025 due to the unexpected and tragic loss of Marshawn Kneeland. This kind of devastating event is enough to sap the motivation and spirit out of any team, and Prescott's leadership has been crucial to getting Dallas through this adversity. Unfortunately, Prescott himself is no stranger to tragic events upending his life. He grew up in a single-parent household, lost a brother to suicide, and his mother to cancer. His own experiences with overcoming tragedy have given him the tools to lead his teammates through the loss of Kneeland, and it seems to have had a noticeable effect on the team's play. But it hasn't just been Prescott's elite quarterbacking that has the offense humming and winning games. The Cowboys made several moves in the offseason that went under the radar, but in hindsight, have turned out to be shrewd deals that have significantly improved the team. Perhaps the most essential of these moves was trading for wide receiver George Pickens. Since he arrived in the league, Pickens has been viewed as a good receiver, but one who is yet to have his breakout moment. He's proven himself as a legitimate deep threat with a great set of hands and elite ball-winning skills that make him a demon on 50-50 balls. His great footwork and sneaky speed consistently put him in the position to make big plays, but for whatever reason, he had yet to establish himself as a true wide receiver one. When Dallas traded a 2026 third rounder and a 2027 fifth rounder for him, they hoped that joining him up with Prescott would finally unlock his potential. But what happened in 2025 was probably beyond the Cowboys execs' wildest expectations. Pickens has exploded and dethroned CeeDee Lamb as the premier receiver in Dallas. By week 14, Pickens had amassed 1,142 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns, both career highs. He has instantly gotten on the same wavelength as Prescott, providing a versatile receiving threat as well as a reliable pair of hands that can be counted on in crucial moments. Pickens' addition has made the Cowboys receiving core one of the best in the league in 2025, which in turn has seen the fourth-year wideout enter the elite category of pass catchers. The trio of Pickens, Lamb, and tight end Jake Ferguson provides Prescott with a variety of top receivers that have made this passing attack one of the best in the league. But the Cowboys' smart recruitment didn't end with Pickens. They also signed running back Javonte Williams, who is similarly having a breakout year, set to reach new career highs. Just like Pickens, Williams has had solid production throughout his career, but has reached new heights in Dallas, giving an edge to the running game that they have been lacking in recent seasons. With 955 yards and 8 touchdowns, Williams is having a fantastic 2025, and his addition has provided some variety to the offensive play calling. Williams has also proven valuable in the passing game in both blocking and catching the ball, adding another 2 touchdowns through the air. With these recruitments, the Cowboys' offense has turned into a much better unit than anyone was expecting at the start of the season. And none of it could have clicked without Prescott and the leadership role he has undertaken. But some questions about the defense remain, and this was one of Dallas's major areas for improvement entering the season. Even before Parsons' departure, analysts generally believed that defense was the Cowboys' weakness. And this was only made worse when Parsons was eventually traded. The season began in rough fashion, with the Cowboys coughing up over 30 points in 4 of their opening 6 games. Since then, they have made improvements, but Matt Eberflus's unit still remains a question mark, especially if they do end up sneaking into the playoffs. With the loss of Micah Parsons came the arrival of defensive tackle Kenny Clark, who has provided some depth to the defensive line. He may not be the kind of game-changing disruptor that Parsons is, but he is a tremendous run stopper and provides some aggression for the front lines. Dallas also made moves in the trade deadline, spending big to get defensive tackle Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets. The combination of Williams and Clark drastically improves a rushing defense that gave up the most touchdowns and 4th most rushing yards in 2024. But the defense remains a concern going into the business end of the season. Despite the improvements, they still rank near the bottom in both yards allowed and points conceded, although they are looking better each week. Any team that wants to make a playoff run needs the ability to close up shop and give the offense a chance to win games. And right now, the Cowboys' defense hasn't proven itself consistent in doing so. But one thing Prescott has shown himself capable of is willing the Cowboys to victory despite the defense's shortcomings. If the defense can continue to improve for the rest of the season, and the Cowboys manage to get a wildcard spot, they are a dangerous team to face. They're hitting their stride at just the right time, and have an offense that will cause problems for literally any defense. Be sitting in a much better position than they currently find themselves in. But there is a lot of football still to play, so maintaining their momentum through the final weeks of the season has to be a priority. With teams around them losing steam, they are in a great position to sneak their way into the wildcard spot. And if they do find themselves in the playoffs come January, they'll be the team no one wants to face. Prescott's career year may not be wasted as everyone originally thought. It might seem crazy with how Dallas started the season, losing a superstar in Micah Parsons. But after Thanksgiving, we have to admit the Cowboys are contenders, and a big reason why is Dak Prescott, who is a nightmare for any NFL defense in his path. So what do you think? Is this the Cowboys' year? Let us know in the comments.